Gaming on the Nothing Phone 2A has really surprised me, shocked me, and impressed me at the same time. And this is Genshin Impact playing at high settings at 60 FPS without any lag. So let's get started. Now for the first 1 hour we are going to be playing 5 games which are not super graphically intensive and not that demanding, but we still have to check them out, and I'll be playing all these 5 games for about 1 hour, and those games include Subway Surfers, Golf Battle, Traffic Rider, Asphalt 9 and Into the Dead 2. And yes, I am including Asphalt 9 because it is not a super heavy demanding game. Even though it looks nice, it is definitely not as demanding as the other 3 games that I'm going to be playing here. And I've also made sure all the graphic settings are high wherever I can change it. So all the settings are at the highest. Now, of course, games like Subway Surfers, the golf game and Traffic Rider run smoothly without any issues, and even Asphalt 9 had no issues. Even at the highest settings, the gameplay was smooth. Now, I did play Asphalt 9 for a couple of races and the gaming experience was smooth. There was no jitters, there was no lag, and everything worked well. Now, then I moved into the game Into the Dead 2, which is a zombie game, and I have to say the gameplay was smooth, and here also the settings were all maxed out and the gameplay was smooth. But there was one area, like a split 2-3 seconds of time, where I noticed lag, and that was when you shoot at a barrel and there's a huge explosion and loads of zombies are around you and everything just bursts. So at that moment I could notice some lag. And that was only once, because after that I did shoot a lot of barrels with a lot of zombies. After that I didn't face any issue, but only that one moment I faced lag. But other than that, the gaming experience was really smooth in Into the Dead 2, and it is kind of a creepy game, especially when the zombies start running towards you like this. It is a funny thing and kind of a creepy thing. But other than that, when I played all these 5 games, so I played these games for an hour and I finished playing this at 10:24 p.m. At that time the battery was at 88%, so we started with 99% battery and now it was at 88%, and the temperature was at 36. So initially we started with a temperature of 33 degrees Celsius and now it's at 36. So overall it's been good, because we've been continuously playing games and the temperature has not crazily shot up. The phone is still really cool to the touch, so everything great as of right now. Now moving into the big boy games. First, let's start with India's favorite, BGMI. Now, as you can see, I am first starting this game with graphic settings at HDR and the frame rate at Ultra. Now, when it comes to the graphic settings, the ultra settings weren't available, so the HDR was the maximum, but the frame rate was at ultra, so everything was good and all the other settings were maxed out. Taking a look at the gameplay, one thing I noticed was it was smooth in most of the areas, but at HDR graphic settings, when there's a lot of environment to be rendered, that is when you can feel kind of a little choppiness. I mean, it is not laggy. It's not laggy, but you can see that kind of, stuttery movements. It's like as if the frame rate, even though we've kept at ultra, even though the frame rate counter shows 60, it feels like it is moving around at 40 or 35 frames. I don't know what's the problem there, but in the second set of testing, I moved that to HD. So I switched the graphic settings from HDR to HD, and then the gameplay was smooth. And I'll be very honest with you, changing it from HDR to HD, I didn't notice any huge difference in terms of the graphics. In fact, I didn't notice any difference, especially it's a small screen. So graphically, nothing had changed, but the gameplay experience had gotten even more smoother. So I'm pretty sure at HDR settings you had a very lower frame rate, but with the HD settings and the frame rate set to ultra, gaming was smooth. In fact, I went up until kind of the last stage and I didn't win, but still it was good for me. I'm not a huge gamer, but I still managed to go to the end, so that was great, and the gaming experience was good. I didn't face any lag, any issues, and if you're someone who loves BGMI, then the Nothing Phone 2A can definitely handle that. Just make sure you keep the settings at HD and the frame rate at ultra, and there should be no problem. So I ended this game at 11:30 p.m. and at that time the battery was at 77% and the temperature was at 37, and even at this point the phone didn't become warm or anything. It was still cool to the touch. So that is great. Moving on to the next game, Call of Duty. So here I have the graphics settings at very high and the frame rate at very high. Now if I want to switch the frame rate to ultra, the graphic settings automatically goes to high, and like BGMI I couldn't keep whatever I wanted, so that was kind of a bummer. So I decided to go with very high both in the graphic settings and the frame rate settings. And here, just like BGMI, the gameplay was smooth. So first I played a multiplayer game, so it is not a huge environment, not loads of things to render, so it was a small closed off environment and everything was good. There was no stutter, no lag, nothing. You could actually enjoy the game and play. I mean, I am a bad player, so don't mind the horrible aiming and shooting, but other than that the gameplay was smooth. But then I played a battle royale in Call of Duty and I have to say the experience was still the same. I didn't notice any kind of stutter or lag. Now there was only one moment when there was a small split second lag, but I won't call it lag but a stutter, but that was not huge. Rest of the game, like 99.5% of the game or 99.9% of the game was super smooth. This was just something I noticed like immediately. Other than that, there was no stutter, no lag or anything. The gaming experience was really good when it came to Call of Duty. And in fact, I was second in this game. And yeah, being not a huge gamer, this was kind of good. So I finished playing this game at 12:28 a.m. and at that time the battery was around 65 or 66%. And that's funny because after the first 88, then 77, then 66. So that's funny. And the temperature was at 39. So as you can see, there is a 2-degree increase in the temperature, but still that is not, to be honest, that is very reasonable and the phone hasn't become too uncomfortably hot or anything. So everything good here. Now finally we have the most heaviest game of them all, Genshin Impact. Now as you can see, I have all the settings turned up to the highest possible settings except for motion blur, because I actually forgot to turn it to the highest, because rest of the settings are at high. Motion blur alone has 4 settings, low, medium, high and highest, which I actually forgot to turn on, so sorry for that. But rest of the settings are at high. Even the frame rate is at 60 fps, and Nothing Phone 2a actually shocked me because I was able to play. So I played this game for around 40 minutes or so, and the gaming experience was amazing on the smartphone. Now I did go through a lot of heavily detailed environments. I did kill a few ogre like stuff here and there, and the gaming was still smooth. There were moments where you had to fight a dragon in sky and there was no sort of lag, which is amazing and impressive to me. Now in all the 40 minutes or so that I played this game, I didn't face any sort of lag, and that was impressive. And for those who are wondering if I had changed the settings in between, no, please take a look, because around 30 minutes or so, I still have the same settings and the gaming has been amazing. Now, of course, there hasn't been any super intensive, like hundreds and thousands of objects in the same screen scenario right now. So I will actually be playing this game again for an hour continuously. So make sure you're subscribed to watch that. But as for now, this phone can even handle Genshin Impact at the highest settings possible. So to me, that is amazing and impressive. And by the time I finished this game at 1:10 a.m. in the morning, the battery percentage was at 54 and the temperature was at 40 degrees Celsius. And this is when I could feel a little warmth at the back. It was not uncomfortably hot, just a little warmth. And for me, that is very good news, because this phone has been able to handle all the games I threw at it without any issues. Great job. Nothing, because I judged the Dimensity 7200 Pro too early. This is a great chip and you've done an amazing job at optimizing this, and I'm very happy to announce, if you want to game on the Nothing Phone 2a, you can actually do that. So make sure you're subscribed to see the full review of this smartphone, and if you want to see any other specific thing, do let me know. Thanks for watching, and this is Suman signing off once again. Catch you later.